What if creativity isn't something you force or chase or wait for, but something you tune into? On this channel, I'm going to be sharing meditation techniques specifically designed for artists, writers, and creatives who want to access deeper inspiration, move through creative blocks, and make work that feels unmistakably personal instead of generic or forced. One of the main techniques I'll be talking about and eventually guiding you through is something called quantum jumping. This video is a starting point. I want to explain what quantum jumping actually is, what it isn't, where the idea comes from scientifically and psychologically, and how I've personally used it in ways that led to real changes, not just interesting experiences. You don't need to believe in anything mystical to watch this, you just need curiosity. If you've ever seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, you already have a reference point. In the movie, the main character Evelyn jumps into different versions of herself across timelines and universes, borrowing skills and perspectives from those versions in order to survive and solve problems. One version of her knows Kung Fu, another is a famous performer, another made completely different life choices. Quantum jumping in meditation isn't like that, at least not literally. There's no instant skill download, and you're not hopping through the multiverse like an action hero. But the metaphor works, especially for creative minds, because it points to something real. The idea that you are not one fixed self, but many potential selves depending on state, context, and perspective. And creativity lives in that flexibility. Let's slow this down and ground it. In quantum physics, there are interpretations, most famously the many worlds interpretation, that suggests all possible outcomes of quantum events exist simultaneously. That idea often gets translated, especially online, into there are infinite universes and infinite versions of you. Here's the important distinction. This interpretation is not experimentally proven, and it does not imply that human beings can consciously travel between universes. Physics describes mathematical models of reality, not personal experiences or meditation practices. However, and this is where it becomes interesting, the language of multiple possibilities existing at once maps very closely onto how the human brain actually operates. Neuroscience shows that your brain is constantly simulating potential futures, rehearsing behaviors, and generating alternate versions of you, depending on emotional state, memory access, and context. Identity isn't a single thing, it's a dynamic pattern. When you meditate, especially deeply, activity in the default mode network decreases. That network is associated with self-narrative, rumination, and rigid identity. When it quiets, people often report sudden insight, creative connections, emotional release, and a sense of observing themselves from the outside. Quantum jumping uses this shift intentionally, not to leave reality, but to access different internal configurations of self. One of the clearest examples for me was a quantum jump focused on a clutter-free home. I'm naturally messy, not in a charming way, just overwhelmed by stuff and mentally scattered because of it. In the meditation, I met a version of myself who cleaned naturally without force or resentment. Her space was clear, but more importantly, her mind felt quieter. Less noise, less background stress. I stayed in that headspace long enough to actually feel the difference. When the meditation ended, I didn't make a plan or give myself a lecture. I just naturally started cleaning, almost automatically. Within hours, a huge amount of the clutter was gone. The insight wasn't clean more. It was understanding why the clean environment mattered to my mental state. That shift stuck. Most creative blocks aren't about a lack of talent or ideas. They come from being stuck in one identity, one emotional pattern, one habitual way of approaching your work. Quantum jumping temporarily loosens that grip. It lets you ask questions like, what does the version of me who already finished this project feel like? What does the version of me without fear approach this page, this canvas, this idea? Original work doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from seeing differently. On this channel, I'm going to be posting free guided quantum jumping meditations, especially for artists, writers, and creatives. Some of the jumps I'm planning include meditations for writer's block, accessing your creative self, stepping into the mindset of a creative genius, and reconnecting with intuition when you feel disconnected from your work. I'll also be sharing other techniques that access altered creative states, like hypnagogic imagery, which Salvador Dali famously used, lucid dreaming, and meditation practices for subconscious insight. If you have requests, leave them in the comments. I genuinely want this channel to be shaped by what people actually need. This channel isn't about escaping reality or pretending to be someone else. It's about learning how to enter your work and your life with more clarity, depth, and originality. If that resonates with you, subscribe. I'll see you in the next meditation.